This episode of Sideline Warning is brought to you by Roost Sport, makers of the original magnetic running pouch. Whether you're biking, running, hiking, or even traveling, the Roost Sport clips to your waistband with magnets for an easy, convenient way to carry what you need without the bulk of belts or bags. Visit theroostsport.com and use the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase, for 30% off their entire product line. Again, that's theroostsport.com, promo code SIDELINE30. And now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sideline Warning, the show where sports takes are sure to go way too far into the field. Here to recap this week's biggest and best sports stories are your hosts, Dave Adams, Ben Foster, and Adam Russell.
Everybody, welcome into episode 41 of Sideline Warning. Here we are, 41 episodes into the show, and we are 3 weeks into the Alabama football season. But as always, you've got the golden voice of the Southeast, the one, the only, Dave Adams, and I am back in my humble abode of Huntsville, Harvest, Alabama, back from vacation where we were face-to-face with Adam Russell there for the first day. But it's not just me and Adam this week. I'm bringing Adam in later. It's not your turn, Adam. Don't talk yet. I'll bring in the one, the only, Hollywood Ben Foster. But Ben, before you talk, I gotta say something else. Primera de tutto, Hollywood Ben Foster. Ciao, Ben. Com'era Italia?
I'm not sure what you just said.
I said, first off, Hollywood Ben Foster. Hi, Ben. How was Italy? In Italian.
Italy was great, and it's amazing because everybody there spoke English. So I learned one word, which was grazie, which is like thank you, and I just said thank you for everything, and everyone else spoke English. It's really amazing.
See, I learned Italian to bring you into the show this week, and you didn't even know what I was saying.
Exactly. You know more Italian than I do.
I'm impressed.
Or at least Google Translate does.
How did you know it was Google Translate? I could have done hours and hours of Rosetta Stone to get ready for this show.
Just making an assumption there, Dave.
Okay, well, it was Google Translate. Okay, so he's not right across the table from me this week, but I can do all my suburbs again. All the way from the House of Mouse, Mount Plymouth, Oakland, Mount Dora, Lake Buena Vista, Lake Catherine, Lisbon, Fruitland Park, St. Cloud, Yeehaw Junction, the one, the only, Adam Russell.
Sono grandioso. Come stai? Sorry.
Yeah. Are we all speaking Italian now?
I guess so, we are. You hit it with St. Cloud, and we're actually the last turnpike exit before Yeehaw Junction. So those last two, you nailed it right on. So you start wide, you bring it in, you land right on top of my house. That was fantastic.
So basically, I'm like an Alabama kicker. I start wide, and eventually.
Yeah, but we have to make a change for it to get dialed in.
Well, you don't want to change to go in the voice of the Southeast. So we can't make a change here. I'm just going to have to make it work on my own, right?
Okay, I was worried about where you were going with that, but I like how that ended. Okay, again, you started wide, you got it dialed in. That was
exactly.
Great.
See, I figured out how to do this thing. So Ben, while you were abroad, first off, were you able to watch sports in Italy?
Yeah, I was because one, we found a place that was rated as the #1 Irish pub in the world. And
cool.
They had the Alabama game on, which was pretty amazing. And it was just like 2 blocks from our hotel. So that worked out really well. We just walked over there and we said, hey, can you put the game on? And the guy behind the bar was like, I don't know, hold on. And I was like, wait, it's already on. You guys have it on. And so there it was. So that was pretty cool. So we managed to watch that, the Notre Dame game, which was hilarious because they were struggling with Ball State. and there were a lot of Notre Dame fans there, surprisingly.
Ooh.
And so it was really fun watching them get excited about like first downs and stuff. Meanwhile, Alabama is playing Arkansas State, a much better team than Ball State, and Alabama's stomping them. And so we're cheering for touchdowns, and Notre Dame fans were cheering for first downs. It was pretty entertaining.
Well, at least Alabama fans and Notre Dame fans have something in common. They at the end, Notre Dame ended up putting Ball State away pretty comfortably. Well, there was another Power 5 team that plays in the ACC that had trouble with a local team of yours, Ben. Do you want to talk about Florida State struggling with the local flavor of Samford?
The Bobby Bowden Bowl.
Yes, the Bobby Bowden Bowl. Of course, wasn't it Howard when Bobby Bowden coached there?
Well, let's not get bogged down in the details. It was
Okay.
the Bobby Bowden Bowl, and there was probably a point where they thought that would be a great idea to schedule Samford. You know, Bobby Bowden says, "Oh, we'll send my old school some money," and then you see Florida State struggle with Samford. It's not
And Florida State, they almost lost.
They
Like,
almost
seriously.
lost. They almost lost, and Florida lost, and Miami is not looking so hot. It is not a good time to be one of the big three in Florida.
I'm not enjoying it. I'm enjoying it from the standpoint of watching these fan bases struggle because you hear it all the time. But down here, it's either a Florida college team or the NFL. That's all anybody wants to talk about. And me and the UCF fans at work are the only ones who want to talk college football right now. It is a very strange place to be right now. Because literally, I'm out in the hallway talking to a UCF fan. Florida fans are walking by, and they're just like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, we should engage in more open conversation where everybody can be involved, not just the winners. So,
Adam, is Central Florida the best team in Florida right now?
I believe they might be.
No, I'm going to go South Florida. South Florida has a better quarterback.
We'll find out at the end of the season.
And
Because I guarantee you they'll both be undefeated.
who is because they don't play anybody.
Exactly.
Did you like my tweet earlier in the week when I said, "Hey, Central Florida, Nebraska's got an off week right now.
Hey, I love it.
Go play the big boys. Go play your old coach."
Yep.
I think it'd be
Nebraska would probably enjoy the opportunity to actually play a team they might be able to beat, unlike Colorado.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, before we get sidetracked, we are the Alabama podcast, so let's talk about Alabama's 57-7 win over Arkansas State. What was y'all's takeaway from this week's win?
Alabama should never miss 2 extra points in a game.
I agree with that.
And that's okay. That's the first thing we have to talk about. What is Alabama's problem with kickers? You know, Adam, you sent a tweet or something to me this week that the number one kicker in the country has committed to play at Alabama in 2019, and I guess my response was, I will screw him up somehow. Is that a problem with Alabama? Because Alabama somehow always gets a highly rated kicker, but they can never put it together where it matters on the field.
Yeah, I think we have to see what Bulovas really has to offer. I don't know why he lost out at the end of the day. I was excited to see him come in and start the season and see what an actual recruit might be able to do, but that other dude came in, missed 2 extra points, and now all of a sudden he's in now. I'd like to give him a shot and see what he can do before we say that Alabama is a, what's the word, Dave? You used
Failure.
a certain word. Failure, yeah.
Failure when it comes to kicking, yes. And I'll say this, Austin Jones was a prize transfer out of Temple, I believe, and so I was excited to see what he can do coming into Alabama, but his leg looks like he's got a rubber leg because he doesn't know where the ball is going. Ben, what was the response in Italy when that happened twice?
The response in Italy was literally me and my friend looked at each other and went, "Wait, what?" The first time it was like, "Wait, how do we only have 6?" And then later it was like, "Wait, did we miss something? Did we just forget to kick?"
I did the same thing.
there was literally a double take where we were like, "Did we just not kick? Did we just take a flyer on it?" I was like, "Have we implemented some sort of mercy rule where we're just not going to?" and obviously it didn't matter. And and for better or for worse, I don't want to be too confident, but I don't think it's going to matter most of the season. I think there's going to be. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think there's only going to be 2 or 3 games this year where Alabama's going to need extra points.
But I said in both of our drafts, in both the leagues that we're all in for college football, I drafted Bullivus in both of them because I honestly do believe. I think that's going to be fine.
I told you not to.
We got to let the player play, man. We got to let the player play. And I think he's the guy that we should have had in there. Now, I know they see something different in practice, and we can Monday morning quarterback it all the way to here and back. But I think we have to be patient and see what he comes with because I think he might be the answer we're looking for. So, guys, say give him time.
Yeah, that brings up another good point, Adam. Alabama has been, I guess, spoiled the last 4 years with a punter that has now taken his talents to Ben's favorite NFL team, J.K. Scott. And he was the best punter in the NCAA, even though he didn't win the awards. He didn't punt enough. But is Skylar DeLong? I mean, he averaged 35 yards a punt on Saturday. Is that the best Skylar DeLong can do? Or is Alabama just really spoiled and that's a good punter?
I wouldn't say that's a good punter. It's got to improve. I mean, those are the two things. Those are the two things that are going to make or break some of those late season games, like an LSU or an Auburn or something like that. Is pinning them deep with a punt when we have to do that, and making field goals. We're going to have those points, and we're going to have to pin them deep. So those are two things that are going to have to be shored up. And I hope it's just early season, everybody getting it out of their system. I don't know, but I mean, it's concerning a 35-yard average.
Yeah,
that's definitely concerning.
Well, here's the thing you've got to start wondering about. And look, we're only 2 games in. There's plenty of time to work out some kinks and for guys to perform better than they have. But at this point, the way Tua's been playing, the way he's been converting on third downs, you've got to start thinking, unless the field goal is going to be a sure thing, maybe it's better to keep Tua out there on fourth down. Maybe instead of going for a field goal, maybe in some circumstances better than punting. If you're at midfield and you don't think you can punt deep enough to pin them to the end zone, maybe you go for it on fourth. If Tua's that good, if he's been that clutch, I see a pained look on Dave's face.
Yes, because all right, he's 10 for 10 on third down conversions right now, but for some reason Saban still wants to do this 2 quarterback system where Jalen comes in every now and then and Tua comes in every now and then. If you're going to do that, you have to have a good punter because for the most part, Jalen doesn't move the ball when he's in the game. Tua does.
So
I don't know.
You roll Tua out there for the fourth down.
I don't know.
Or maybe you punt when Jalen's in and you go for it when Tua's in.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd call it a full-fledged 2 quarterback system. I feel like we'll talk it more in a minute. I feel like he's putting them in opportunities where he can succeed and show what he can do for things we'll talk about later. But for me, you say we have time to work out the kinks. I don't want to give Ole Miss's offense a short field.
Right, that's true.
I mean, you see their offense, their scoring offense, and I know they're playing the normal tune-up stuff to start the year. I don't want to give them a short field. Our punter has to be something that's shored up now.
Well, Texas Tech
in this coming week.
Yeah, I don't call Texas Tech a tune-up. Texas Tech is a good
that is
team.
true. That is true.
And they played Texas Tech very well.
Yep.
And
I don't know. I think by the end of the season, we're going to be having some serious questions about how good Texas Tech is.
Well, but they have a decent offense, and we know Ole Miss doesn't have a good defense, but still, they are a Big 12 team.
If I can real quick, man, I saw the score 38-35. I thought it was the end of the game for Ole Miss. I didn't realize that was a score at halftime. That's why I texted Dave. I was like 38-35 at the half, and then letting Southern Illinois?
Yeah, the Salukis
score 40+. It's like, did anybody bring a defense?
And they didn't have Tua Tagovailoa as their quarterback,
right?
Or Najee Harris, or Damian Harris, or
gosh, man,
or Jerry Jeudy, or Devontae Smith. So come on, this is going to be I'm not going to say it's a bloodbath, but it will be a high scoring affair.
Yeah.
So, What was your impression of Tua versus Jalen in this game? I'll go ahead and say it. Jalen looked like a different quarterback this game. Jalen threaded the needle in that in one of those touchdown passes. He looked like he went through some progressions. If Jalen looked like that against Louisville, instead of the quarterback he looked like, we might be having a different conversation. What were y'all's thoughts?
Well, I think we're getting there's a way more clarity now that Jalen's not going to be the starting quarterback, and there's not really an opportunity for him to be the starting quarterback. And so maybe that actually takes some of the pressure off his shoulders, and he can loosen up and just let the ball go.
Yeah, I think he's got the pressure off. I think there are other things factoring into it, but at the end of the day, at the same time, it's Arkansas State. And I think you texted me, Dave, and you're like, wow, Jalen's showing up to play. And I'm like, yeah, it's Arkansas State. I mean, I would expect him to do well against these guys. I mean, it did seem like the decision-making was better. It did seem like he was playing with a little less pressure. But I would like to see him get reps in a game against someone who I would consider a quality opponent, just to really make that differentiation. And I think Louisville was a good test in some ways, but I don't think they're by far anything like we'll face later on. Now, I don't know if Jalen would get an opportunity later on, but I don't think you can really say that he's stepping up like he should if the opponent's still like an Arkansas State.
Okay, I'd agree with that. But, you say it's Arkansas State, kind of throwing your nose up in the air at them. But Arkansas State is supposed to be the leader in the Sun Belt. They're always going to a bowl game. They're not just it's just Arkansas State. Now, granted,
they might have a better defense than Louisville,
and maybe better defense than Ole Miss.
I definitely believe that.
Yeah. So if their defense is better than Louisville or Ole Miss, and Alabama scored more points on them than they did Louisville, we might be looking at the best offense to ever step foot on the Alabama campus. And I hate saying that because I don't like putting in the cart before the horse. But we could be talking about not millions, but all of the Alabama offensive records being broken this year.
I'd love that.
Ben, you look like you want to say something.
Well, no, I agree with you. I don't want to get ahead of myself because we haven't played that tough of opponents. But also, this schedule's not that difficult. There's there's tough teams, but nobody's going to say this is the toughest schedule Saban's had under Alabama. And you look at it and you go, why couldn't Alabama break several statistical records? Historically, Alabama's never been that big of a passing school anyway. And
right.
And most of the school passing records have actually been set by Saban quarterbacks.
Yeah, but if you
look at single season records, who's got those records? AJ McCarron? Blake Sims? I mean, does anybody think Tua is not a better quarterback than them? Tua's by far a better passing quarterback than those guys. Give or take, he may not be a better game manager than A.J. McCarron, but Tua's got a better arm. He's way more accurate. I think we're going to see a ton of records fall this year.
So do you? I mean, I hear a lot about Alabama's schedule being soft, and a lot of people think that we should make rank number one because of that. But A&M showed up against Clemson in a big way and almost took number 2 down. We've got a stretch of UL, Lafayette, Arkansas, Mizzou, and Tennessee, which should be pretty easy. But then we finished the year with LSU, State, and Auburn, with the Citadel thrown in for some flavor, right? I mean, LSU, State, and Auburn are all up.
Yeah, right.
And could be top 10 by the end of the season if they continue to win. Well, I think the early part of the season and the middle part of the season, we're going to have a lot of opportunity to get some offensive yards up there. I think we're going to have to really have our stuff together to finish those 3 games still breaking records at the end of the year. Those could be 3 teams that provide consistent tests for 3 out of the last 4 weeks of the season.
Well, Mississippi State is good, but nobody's terrified of their defense. LSU and Auburn have got pretty good defenses, but those are still very winnable games. But the thing is, those 3 games aside, if Tua plays like he has in those other 7 games, he's going to set some records. If he plays in those other 7 games like he did in the first 2, he's going to set some records even if he doesn't have his best day versus LSU and Auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So Ben, we've come to the part of the show now where I'm going to throw a little wrinkle and surprise at you. You ready?
Uh-oh.
So during the Alabama game, you were texting us back and forth from Italy, of course, killing your data plan. But you made a point that you think the Heisman Trophy frontrunner on Alabama's team is not the quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. I want you to make your case for why you think the Heisman Trophy frontrunner is Jerry Jeudy.
If you'd asked me at the beginning of the season who the most likely Heisman Trophy candidate would be, if it wasn't going to be Tua, I would have said, well, Damian Harris, he's going to have a great year running the ball. And being back for his senior season, he's going to have the press pushing the story and everything. But Jerry Jeudy's catching touchdowns left and right. He's been outstanding, and we haven't needed him for 4 quarters. You get into some of these big games where he's playing against a Texas A&M or an LSU or an Auburn, and you really have got to count on a wide receiver. He and Tua are on the same wavelength, and if Tua's going to set some passing records for the school, he's going to do a lot of it by passing to Jerry Jeudy. How many touchdowns does he have now?
6, I think.
6 through 2 games.
No,
4.
No.
He has 4.
4. That's right.
Okay. I was like,
Tua's got 6.
151 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Tua's got 6.
So he's got 2/3 of Tua's touchdowns.
But I've got 2 counterpoints to you, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is you say that him and Tua are on the same wavelength. I hear you a little bit, but the guy that I say is on the same wavelength as Tua is Devontae Smith. I think that Devontae is going to be Tua's number 1 guy.
Well, they've been on the same wavelength since January. But
that's true.
But Jerry Jeudy has been the first strike guy. He's how many touchdowns does Smith have?
1.
Just 1. But
1.
But Devontae
But he has more. He has more yards. Yeah, Devontae Smith has more yards.
He's got more yards. Do you have the roster pulled up?
Mm-hmm.
How tall is Jerry Jeudy?
6'1". They're both 6'1".
They're both 6'1". I was thinking Jerry Jeudy would be a little bit taller, but Tua can spread it around. I think that can happen. But so far, Jerry Jeudy has been the guy that's catching the ball. He's got 4 touchdowns, and if he wants to, average 2 touchdowns a game, I think there's going to be some people talking about him. I just think it's worth pointing out that it's been a while since we've had a guy that started off had a receiver that started off this hot, and I just think people need to be keeping an eye on Jerry Jeudy when they want to have these conversations. Part of why Tua looks so good is because Judy's been catching the ball.
My second point, can you name me the last wide receiver that's won a Heisman, Ben?
All the more reason why we're due to have one win.
I can't even think about the last one. I don't even know when it was. I know Peter Warrick was up for it, but he didn't win.
Was it Desmond Howard?
Was Desmond a tight end?
No.
It might have been Desmond in the 91 season.
I think it was Desmond Howard.
So we are we're almost 30 years from the last wide receiver to win a Heisman.
All the more reason it's time. It's time.
So let's say Ben's right.
That's the kind of fundamental change Jerry Jeudy is bringing to the game. He's making it cool to be a wide receiver again.
So let's say Ben's right. Let's say Jerry Jeudy's up there. He's catching most of the touchdowns, catching most of the balls. Tua breaks records. Jerry Jeudy breaks records. Are they invited to the ceremony together?
I'd say so.
Why
But
not?
keep in mind,
Why not have two guys?
Why not?
No, I don't disagree. I was just asking hypothetically what your thoughts were.
But I think that if you're going to if Judy's catching most of the touchdowns, keep in mind I said most of the touchdowns. Tua's going to throw to other people, and other people will catch touchdowns. All the hype will be on Tua and not Jeudy, who hasn't caught all of the touchdowns. That's just my point.
You're probably right there. Unless
Say that again. Say that again, please.
No, he said probably.
Okay.
I said probably, on a hypothetical.
Okay. Since we're talking hypotheticals, let's kind of turn the tide here a little bit. Hypothetically, a report came out on Friday before the game last week, where and Ben, you're probably going to kind of say that this isn't truly the case, but I've got the report pulled up here where it says that Aaron Suttles is reporting that Jalen Hurts will redshirt the 2018 season unless sophomore quarterback Tua Tagovailoa gets hurt early in the season.
Yeah, and where are you reading that?
This is from SB Nation.
Mm-hmm. Well, SB Nation is citing Aaron Suttles there, and when you sent that link from SB Nation, I went and looked at all of Aaron's tweets from that day, and I went and read his most recent article or two on The Athletic, which I've enjoyed reading a lot. And in there, Aaron seems to speculate that that's going to be the case with Jalen Hurts, but he never reports it. As far as I could say that was definitely going to happen. He says, my best guess, or I think it would be likely, and he's not really quoting anybody when he's saying that. So I think SB Nation might have jumped the gun a little bit there to say that he was reporting that because I think part of what Aaron does with The Athletic is he analyzes what's going on with the team, and he's not necessarily turning out all of his sources. Now, that's purely just what I'm guessing based on how I read it. But I never saw anything that conclusively said Jalen was definitely going to redshirt.
Okay. I did hear rumors and reports that somewhere between Thursday and Friday, Saban had a conference call with the Hurts family and Jalen, and that they came to some sort of agreement that would allow Jalen to redshirt and to transfer at the end of the season. That was the understanding I had up until Jalen came into the game after 3 series of Tua. Is that still your thought? I mean, or is Saban letting Jalen kind of audition for his next school?
If you're only going to play in 4 games, it makes no sense to play in the Arkansas State game. Why would you do that? If Tua gets hurt, you want to have Jalen ready to go in other games. And if you're going to only have Jalen play in 3 more games after the Louisville game, don't you want him for the last 3 games of the season?
What if Jalen's audition is for a school that would play a team like Arkansas State often? I mean, to us, he's very valuable. For us, he's 26-2 and very valuable. But when it comes right down to it, what schools have mentioned that they would be willing to accept him as a transfer? And if some of them are teams that are on the level or in the same conference as Arkansas State, maybe they are just trying to do right by him. Because I took Saban's rant last week after the Louisville game to be, don't make me try to say that he's not good, because almost like he sees himself as his agent in a way right now. I don't want to say anything disparaging about either of these guys, meaning more, I don't want to say anything disparaging about Jalen, because I think they're trying to figure out what the right thing is for him, and I think they know it's not at Alabama. And I think it is an audition. I really do.
So here's my question, and here's my hypothetical here. I work with a big LSU fan. My hypothetical is, who was Jalen's number 1 cheerleader 2 years ago? When he was the offensive coordinator, Lane Kiffin. I say this is Lane Kiffin's last year at FAU. Lane Kiffin will get a Power 5 job at the end of the season. My hot take, my prediction right now is wherever Lane Kiffin goes, you will see Jalen Hurts transfer there. And my buddy that's an LSU fan at work says he wants LSU to fail this year, because he thinks that if Ogeron's out, it will be Kiffin, and that Jalen will transfer to LSU to join Kiffin. There's my hot take. I don't think.
I mean, that's a fun conspiracy theory, but I think Jalen and Kiffin would love to get together. I think the idea of Kiffin being at LSU is something. A lot of things have to fall the right way for all of that to happen. And the fact that LSU beat Miami to start the season off may move that a little bit further away.
Yeah.
But
LSU may fall apart the rest of the season. They may get stomped by Auburn this week, but LSU's looking pretty good right now. They're the number 12 team in the country.
What if Jalen's ultimate destination is FAU?
I don't think it will be.
No?
No, I think he's going to go. I knew that's where you were headed with the Arkansas State thing. But I think that he'll go to a Power 5 school. If he doesn't follow Kiffin, he'll go back to Texas. I think he'll go to a Texas school. That's where he's from. And maybe Houston, maybe Texas with Tom Herman. But I even heard a conspiracy theory that said, what coach in the SEC loves running quarterbacks? Gus Malzahn. Who's going to be losing probably their starting quarterback at the end of the season? Gus Malzahn.
Hey, seeing how
do you think Saban's going to approve? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, seeing how Jalen played in the Iron Bowl last year. Go ahead.
He can't. Ben,
do you think Saban's going to approve that?
Ben, to your question, he can't. He can't disapprove it. Remember Brandon Kennedy?
Yep.
So
and who is the biggest proponent of that rule on this show?
You.
Sorry, guys.
I honestly think Jalen might be more valuable in a Dan Mullen offense than he would be in a Gus Malzahn offense.
Yeah, because he looks a lot, he runs a lot like a Nick Fitzgerald type guy. So
he's got a little bit of a different build than your typical Mullen quarterback, but he definitely has the similar skill set. So
yeah.
But here's what I'm thinking. If you're Jalen Hurts, what's really the end game here?
NFL.
But is Jalen going to go to the NFL?
As a quarterback, I don't think so. But here's my take. If I'm Jalen Hurts, and obviously I'm not because I don't have that much talent in my pinky. I wish I had that talent he had in his pinky. But if I'm Jalen Hurts, I go to Coach Saban and say, Coach, what is the best way for me to make it to the NFL? And if Nick Saban probably would say, change positions. Then I would say, Coach, then put me at what position you think would get me to the NFL and help me get there. So if I'm Jalen, I change positions and I become a wide receiver, a tight end, or something that can really showcase my talent. Because obviously his talent's not throwing.
But that's exactly if you worded Saban's response to all this quarterback stuff a different way, where they're trying to find a way to utilize his skill set so that he can contribute. I think that means any and every position that he's available for. I think the question is, does he want to be put wherever he would fit in the Alabama system? Or does he want to continue at quarterback and go to a place even if it means a mid-major? And I think a lot of that's going to depend on what we saw in the offseason of how much his parents are in his ear and how much he has his own idea of what he wants to do.
I just think it's strange to preserve a year of eligibility as if having 2 more seasons as a starter versus 1 season as a grad transfer starter is going to make a difference in his NFL prospects. I don't think there's that much improvement can be made with Jalen based on what we've seen through 2 seasons of how he throws the ball, that he's going to look appealing to an NFL team.
Yeah, I see. This is a Tim Tebow situation all over again. Yeah. Now, Jalen's nowhere near as good as Tim Tebow. But if Tebow had gone to the NFL combines and said, all right, put me where you want me, a lot of NFL teams were salivating over having him as an H-back. And I think he could have had a great NFL career as an H-back. But Tebow was adamant that he was a quarterback. I've heard out of the Alabama camp that that Jalen is adamant that he is a quarterback.
I think Jalen and his family think that Jalen is Deshaun Watson.
Which he is not.
No.
He doesn't have he's got the same strength as Deshaun Watson. He has a lot of the same athletic tools as Deshaun Watson, but he doesn't have the accurate arm. And that's the only thing the NFL's interested in. Can you put the football through a very narrow window and get it to the receiver. And that's not something Jalen's shown yet. And I don't see anything that makes me think that that's going to be in his skill set. Even if Jalen had somehow beaten out Tua and was the starting quarterback this year, none of us would be saying Jalen's going to be drafted in the NFL.
I totally agree. I think that, I think that, here's the example
when we've discussed it, when we've talked about him being in the NFL, we said it would be in some sort of backup quarterback scenario.
Right.
Or where they would bring him in as some sort of wildcat type player.
Right. Here's the scenario I bring to you, Ben. A.J. McCarron, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in Alabama history. Can't throw a deep ball past 40 yards. But A.J., he could hit Amari Cooper right in the numbers, anywhere from 1 to 40 yards. A.J. can't get a starting job in the NFL. If A.J. McCarron can't get a starting job in the NFL, how does Jalen Hurts think that he could get a starting job in the NFL?
Totally agree.
So, I've got to ask, are Jalen and his family out of touch with reality?
Yes. Hands down, yes. If you can't get a starting job on your college campus, how can you get a starting job and dethrone somebody in the NFL?
And, maybe Lane Kiffin is some sort of quarterback whisperer, and if he has another year or two to work on Jalen, he can turn him into a pro quarterback somehow. But I don't know if I'm Jalen and I'm looking at this, my dad's a quarterback, I'm playing for Nick Saban. I've gotten to hang around Lane Kiffin for a little bit, but not too much, and I've gotten to be around all these people that are smart coaches. If I'm Jalen, I'm trying to figure out a way to become a coach.
That's not a bad idea.
Jalen could be, being a quarterback, he has a full understanding of how an offense works. He could easily get picked up somewhere in a college program as a running backs coach, having the perspective of being a quarterback, and be very valuable. And over a few years, develop himself into being an offensive coordinator. That's a more viable path for Jalen. If we want to talk about jobs that pay well, Jalen should be figuring out a way to turn himself into an offensive coordinator. He should want to go play for another year or two and then become an assistant for Lane Kiffin and eventually be Lane Kiffin's offensive coordinator, because Lane Kiffin's got like a 25-year-old guy as an OC right now at FAU.
Isn't it Charlie Strong's son?
Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss' son.
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking that's a way more viable path. That's a way more reasonable path for Jalen to get a good paying job after he's done playing football than for him to go get his brains bashed in the NFL, essentially playing as the scout team quarterback, the backup quarterback for a bunch of NFL teams.
So then why not redshirt, save your year of eligibility, get a little bit of snaps this year, go down to FAU, play for Lane Kiffin, and then end up being on his staff after you've developed a little bit?
I think that's a much better path for Jalen than thinking he's Deshaun Watson and continuing to be out of touch with reality.
Yep.
Yeah, totally agree with that. So, something that we all totally agree on as well is that Roo Sport is a incredible product. And, you hear us talk about Roo Sport all the time. And I just got back from Disney. I was able to use my Roo Sport pouch to carry things because I found out that my Fitbit didn't work when I was pushing a stroller, which if I'm walking around Disney, I have got to have those Fitbit steps. But if I put it in my Roo Sport pouch, it felt the movement of my leg, and I was able to get those steps. Adam, you use your Roo Sport a lot for running. Have you started training for this half marathon in February yet?
Yeah, I'm starting to get just some short runs in every now and then at the gym, and it really doesn't matter, whether I'm running at the gym or running outside. I take mine with me because, I don't know, whenever I'm on a treadmill, I have this fear of like sitting my phone on it and I fall or it knocks off or something like that. And so whether I'm at the gym or not, just knowing I've got my stuff on me, knowing that I've got it in a spot where it's safe, but it's everything that I need. I think that That's been the big thing for me. Is like we talked it, I think last week, Dave. Just being able to know you have the right gear, throw it on, go out the door and run, or if you're going to the gym, do the same thing. You just have the same consistent routine that you can get into, and that's what really helps with a lot of training, is knowing that you have the right stuff that you can rely on. But I tell you, I don't think a Rooster's big enough to hold the premium segues that you have introduced during today's show. We've had a number of those, Dave. But I think anything else you need to take with you, I think would a Roost Sport would be good for.
I'll tell you, I was looking at Roost Sport's Twitter the other day, and they brought up a good idea too that a lot of people are using it for. We've talked about all these things you can use it for, taking it to all these festivals that Ben goes to, taking it to theme parks, taking it on runs. But Roost Sport brought up a good idea on their Twitter. A lot of people who are diabetic that have to carry around their EpiPen all the time, you just throw that EpiPen in your Roost Sport pouch and it's right there.
Yeah.
Adam, you said it's good for dancing. I don't know how good it could be for dancing, but it's good for medical emergencies too. And something that, they have more than just these pouches on their website. I'd actually just got one of these Roost Sport loungers. I don't know if y'all seen these, but they're these big inflatable couches, basically. You turn around in a circle and you tie off the air that comes in there, and it's a big inflatable couch. And I'm going to try to bring it down to tailgating a couple times, and I'll post some pictures on the Sideline Twitter and Instagram. But the guys at Roost Sport have actually given the fans of Sideline Warning something pretty cool. Adam, go ahead and tell them about that.
Yeah, so Dave, they've actually given us a code that our listeners can use on the website to get a 30% discount. It's Sideline 30. That's all lowercase letters to spell out Sideline, and then the number's 30, Sideline 30. And that gives you 30% off the entire product line on their website. So that includes the Roost Sport pouches, all the sizes, all the colors, all the versions. It includes battery packs, and it also includes the Roost Sport lounger that Dave was talking about earlier. So anything you see on the website, that's good for. And again, it's Sideline 30, and their website is theroostsport.com. So go take a look, find something that works for you, and take advantage of that discount.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a product that's really helped me running, and a product that's helped me do a lot of stuff around carrying things that I never thought I'd have to carry now that I'm a runner. But something else that I never thought I'd have to use and never thought I'd have to talk about is in September. We're recording on September 12th. The Braves have a magic number of 10. 10, gentlemen, to win the National League East. When we did our baseball picks show, would y'all have even dreamed that the Braves would be in this situation right now?
Not a chance.
I might have dreamed it, but I would have said, "Yeah, I'm dreaming. It's not going to happen." But here we are. This is a thing of beauty.
The Braves are now. Let's see. Like I said, we're recording on September 12th, Wednesday night. The Braves are 7.5 games up on the Phillies. 7.5 games. The Phillies have tanked. The Braves are moving in the right direction. Is this really going to happen?
Well, it looks that way, but also, we have magic numbers for a reason. It's not gonna happen until it does happen. The Phillies could get really hot, and the Braves could play their worst baseball the next few weeks, and that magic number at 10 could stay at 10 for a little bit. But it's looking more and more likely. I think before today's games, the Braves had something like a 93% chance of winning the East, or a 94% chance, something absurd like that. And that really is hard to fathom that's where we're at. We've been saying for a while now that the Braves finished the last 10 games of the season with 7 games versus the Phillies. And we've been thinking it's going to come down to those 7 games. The Braves may already clinch before they play those games against the Phillies. And that's just mind-blowing.
I never in a million years thought that would happen. I thought that the Braves are maybe a year or two off, but maybe all of these trades that we were promised would get us to the promised land might actually be paying off. And dare I say, do we need to say thank you to some former GMs that promised it was going to happen?
Maybe.
No, let's just not. let's just not eat crow right now. By the way, Ben, I'm just looking at it now. The Braves are at 96.9% of making the playoff now.
That's unreal.
Yeah. Whereas, okay, Cleveland's 99.9. The Boston Red Sox clinched tonight, so they're 100. The Yankees are 99.9. Houston's 99.9. Chicago's 99.9. The Braves are 96.9, and no one in the West has anything more than a 72%.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not going to know the West until the very last minute.
Right.
And the way things are going, it looks like there will be 3 teams in the West with a shot, and 2 of them will have their hearts broken probably in the last 48 hours.
Right, because 2 of the
last
teams
48 hours of the season.
Right. 2 of the teams the wild card, they're definitely going to be coming out of the Central. I think the Cubs will win it, and it's going to be the Redbirds, the Cardinals, and the Brewers playing for the wild card.
Well, we thought that it became clear a couple months ago that the Braves were going to have a good shot at winning the East, but we still thought there might be another team from the East that'd make the playoffs. But the Phillies right now, they're 3 games over 500.
Yeah. They're tanking.
They're 2-8 in their last 10, and I hate that for them. I really do.
No,
yeah.
No,
I'm good.
No. Are you pulling a heel turn on us, Ben? Are you going to be the ultimate Hulk Hogan and tear off the red and yellow and have the NWO colors on?
No, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
And there's your wrestling reference.
There's my wrestling reference.
He had to work it in. I
had to work it in somehow. But I tell you, man, let's go ahead and have this conversation, Adam. You have been chomping at the bit to have this conversation. So we can really say that the young guys have brought the Braves to the forefront. And it's not really been Freddie Freeman. It's been Ronald Acuna. It's been Ender Inciarte. Well, it's been the old man, #failure. It's just been all these guys that the Braves don't normally see. Adam, you say that you have a case that Ronald Acuna should not only be the Rookie of the Year, you think that Acuna should be the Major League, National League MVP as well.
I think you could make a case for it. Well, let's check the assumptions first. Do we all agree that Rookie of the Year, he's the front runner for that?
Oh, definitely the front runner.
I say that it's a close front runner. I think that Acuna will win it, but I do think that Juan Soto will get some first place votes.
Yeah, I agree. Acuna's got the stats on Soto, I think, to push him over. So we all agree Rookie of the Year. So if you look at the odds on right now for National League MVP, the top 3 are Javier Baez with the Cubs, Freddie Freeman, and Nolan Arenado.
Okay,
that's the top 3. So has Freddie, in you guys' mind, been more valuable to the Braves to do what they have done this season than Acuna? More valuable to the team?
Yes.
And why?
Because Freddie is the guy that no matter when he gets up, he always seems to find the way to get the hit. Acuna, he has been great at leading off games. He has hit home runs leading off games. But Acuna still strikes out in some key moments. Look at today's game. I don't know if y'all got to watch it because the Facebook watch is horrible. I will bring that up again later in my sideline warning. But the Braves had the bases loaded. Acuna strikes out. Acuna has a strikeout bug, whereas Freddie Freeman fouls off pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch and finds a way to either poke it through or at least put the ball in play.
As you'd expect a veteran player to do.
Exactly.
Right? So my case really rests on just the simple fact that if he doesn't win it, the fact that there are, I saw a website with 7, I've seen 8, I've seen 5, but he's not anywhere in the odds-on favorites to win. He's not even on the list. So if this was the Heisman, he wouldn't even be invited. I don't think you can say with a straight face that for someone to come in on a limited number of games like he has, and have the impact that he's had with a shorter time frame given to him that other players have had, that he shouldn't be up there at least in the top 5 or 6 for it. I don't think you can make that case. When you look at his home runs per at bat, when you look at how just in the month of September alone, he's accounted for 20% of the runs the Braves have scored. One guy has done that. And it's just all of those stats piled up. He may not, when you look at Javier Baez's stats, I think he's probably the front runner for a reason, because head and shoulders, he's got more RBIs, more home runs, all of this, but he's also had more games. When you look at the wins above replacement that everybody's contributed this season, Acuna is at like a 4.2. Javier Baez is up in the mid fives, but he's had more games to contribute, and that is adjusted. WAR is adjusted for the number of games that players have played. And so
look at Adam getting all analytical on us.
Thank you very much.
Dropping the saber metrics.
I love statistics, man. So for me, I think if you adjusted him for a full year and he wasn't a rookie, he'd be up there. But I think the only reason he's not up there right now in a lot of people's minds is because he is a rookie and he hasn't played a full year. And I don't know that that's the right reason for him to be left out. So that's my opinion.
I think it was the Braves broadcast last night, and at least a couple of articles I've seen today, where people are starting to mention him with that MVP stuff. Do I think he's going to win the MVP? No. Do I think he's an incredibly valuable player? Yeah, absolutely. The Braves aren't where they are without him, so that makes him an extraordinarily valuable player. But they're also not where they are without Freddie Freeman. And the thing with Freeman is he provides so much leadership and sets the tone for the team. He's the veteran guy, the guy that wants to play every day, except for the occasional break that Snitker may force upon him. And I think Freeman adds a lot of intangible things, even above statistical categories. But unfortunately, those kind of things are rarely taken into consideration when you're looking at MVP stuff. I don't think Freddie Freeman has had an MVP year. I think he's had a year. I think he's had a year that should get him MVP consideration, but I don't think he's going to win. I don't think, and I think it's for the same reason that we were talking earlier, that Jerry Jeudy and Tua Tagovailoa may make each other look really good for Heisman considerations. Having Freddie Freeman and having Ronald Acuna on the same team makes it a little bit hard to distinguish who the most valuable player is, because they're both making significant contributions to the team, and a team that's really well-rounded. The Braves spread it around way better than other teams do. There's a lot of other teams that have to rely on one offensive force, and the Braves, if Freddie Freeman has an off night, other guys pick up the slack. And that's just not the case with a lot of these other teams. And I think because so much gets shared among the Braves hitters, it's gonna be really hard to find an MVP on this team.
Well, and that's why when you look at the Braves teams of the past, there's never been, except for the pitchers on the offense, there's never been one guy that stuck out statistically. 91, can you say who it was? No. 92, no. In the 2000s, you're going to get to Chipper Jones. But when the Braves were in their heyday, when they were getting to the World Series, it was never one guy. It was always just a multitude of guys on offense making it work. And I love the fact that this Braves team is winning with old-style Braves baseball.
They've been fun to watch, and this team still has some flaws. There's questions about the bullpen. Maybe Arodys Vizcaíno helps solve some of that. Maybe he doesn't. My bet would be that he doesn't solve that.
That's my bet as well.
But the Braves are going to go to the postseason, and that's something to get excited about.
Dude, we're all old enough here to say, answer this question definitively. Does this team remind y'all as much as it reminds me of 1991?
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah. I think it's that fact, just like Ben said. 1991, there wasn't a guy where you're like, we have a Giancarlo Stanton, or, there's not one player you can look at this year that says this guy is like one of the best in all of baseball, and he's just going to get snatched up by the Yankees in 2 years. That's where we were a couple of years ago, right?
Right.
You could look at somebody good on the lineup and say, well, he's gone in a year. But everybody's just contributing. They're doing their job, and that team felt like we're all here, we're all doing our job,
right? And
we're creating wins because of that. And that energy kind of gets infectious in the clubhouse, and that's what this feels like this year too.
Well, think about it. back in 1991, the Braves had a brash, young, rookie-ish player playing right field by the name of David Justice.
Yep.
Now the Braves have I won't say he's brash, but he's a young, rookie-ish right fielder by the name of Ronald Acuna. So the similarities are very much there. Now, we don't have a cokehead leaning off named Otis Nixon. But
hey, you leave Otis alone.
Uh-oh.
Adam's getting the popcorn ready.
Leave my man Otis alone. I love Otis Nixon.
Hey, I'm still mad at him for bunting against the Blue Jays in the final out of the 92 World Series.
We are not dredging up the past. On the field or off, Otis Nixon is a gamer.
Sure he is. He can climb that wall at Fulton County and climb the wall away from the cops when they're coming after him for coke abuse.
Well, let's talk about this. The Braves have 82 wins right now, and if you look at this, the Cubs have 84. Over their last 10 games, the Braves are 6-4, and the Cubs are 5-5. If you do a little, back of the envelope math there, you say, hey, you know what? The Braves could keep winning at a rate of 6 of 10 games, and the Cubs could keep winning at a rate of 5 of 5, and the Braves could wind up with the best record in the National League at the end of the season. And normally that's what you'd want, right?
But no, I don't want it. I know
normally that's what you'd want. Normally
it is. Yes, but I don't want it.
But if you're the number one team, you're going to play the wild card team, and that's going to be Milwaukee or St. Louis.
Right.
And that's kind of scary. The Braves handled Milwaukee well in Atlanta, but they didn't handle them so great when they went to Milwaukee. And the Cardinals have always been a thorn in the Braves' side. So you say, we don't want that. What we want is to finish second and play the third place team, which will be from the West, presuming everything holds out. And then you go, wait, the Braves have been worse against the West than any division.
Right.
The Braves haven't played well against the Rockies, the Dodgers, or the Diamondbacks. And so I don't know. If you're the Braves, who do you want first? You should just be happy to be in the playoffs and winning the East in a year nobody thought you would. But what would you rather do? Would you rather play the wild card team, or would you rather play the teams from the West?
I don't know. I'd rather take my chance at the Rockies, I think, because I think the Rockies are going to pull it out. And if it's the Dodgers, the Braves can handle the Dodgers. Kershaw's not Kershaw this year. And so I think the Braves can handle the Dodgers.
I still think you want the wild card team, though, because of the stress that puts on you, the pitching that you have to rely on in that wild card game to get that one win that's so important. I still think you want that because you want a team that's got their pitching staff in disarray coming into that 5-game series.
So let me point this out to you guys. Let me ask you guys a question. If the Braves get the wild card team, and we get their number 2 starter, in Snitker's mind, who is the Braves' number 1 starter? Unfortunately, I'm afraid that he's going to say Julio Teheran.
No, it's faulty. It's Fultonevich.
Yeah.
No, wrong. It's Sean Newcomb. Sean Newcomb is hands down the best pitcher on the Braves staff.
You're saying this a day after Fultonevich pitched a complete game?
I am. Nuke almost had a no-hitter. Fulte is streaky. Fulte's good. When Fulte's on, he's on. But Nuke is the more complete and more put-together pitcher, I believe.
Absolutely not. Newcomb has been just as streaky as Fultonevich, if not more so. Adam's breaking out the popcorn again. This is absurd. Newcomb is younger. He is less experienced. Fultonevich throws fire. You've got to put Fultonevich, the more experienced of the 2 pitchers out there, in the big game.
If we want experience, what about Anibal Sanchez? I'm kidding.
How about Gaussman while we're at it? That's the only one.
Yeah, Gaussman, because Ben thinks Gaussman hung the moon when really he's just gotten lucky. Let's look at the last time Gaussman pitched. He got torched. by the Diamondbacks.
What is Gausman's record since coming to the Braves?
2-1.
Is he 2-1? I think he's 3-1.
I think he got no decision in one of those games.
I think he's had 6 starts now, and I think he's 3-1.
Okay. Still, I don't like the trade.
You don't like the trade? What did we give up for Gausman? Absolutely nothing. He's been outstanding.
By the way, I love the fact that we gave up Preston Tucker for Adam Duvall, and guess who's back in the Braves uniform? Preston Tucker. I don't know how that happened, but apparently we've got a genius as a general manager.
Alex Anthopoulos is making some great moves. He has improved the team and given up precisely nothing. By the way, didn't you have a wristwatch on a few minutes ago?
Oh, where'd it go?
Exactly. It's Alex Anthopoulos. He's wearing that wristwatch. I thought that was. I don't know.
How did that get on his arm? Wow. All right, so there's our Braves talk. You've heard our football talk. This conversation is going nowhere. Ben, you're back. You can handle the picks because obviously I just did the SEC. We didn't do enough picks this last week. Before you do this, Adam, who's winning the pick poll right now?
Well, me and you were tied, Dave.
No, when you go into the tiebreaker, who's winning the pick poll, Adam?
A gentleman named Dave Adams, the golden voice of the Southeast.
All right. So
Dave has, let's just go over real quick. Dave's got 76.5% correct. I've got the same number. Ben is at 73.5%. That's only one pick difference, though. We've gotten 26 out of 34 right. Ben's gotten 25 out of 34 right.
I'm coming for you.
So the tiebreaker, see, there you go. The tiebreaker Dave's talking about is if we predict the score of the Alabama game, the average point different from what we thought it was going to be, I'm calculating that. Dave's at 5. I'm at 8, so Dave is technically in the lead right now.
I'm the wiener.
Agreed.
It's a long season. It's a long season. You can't determine the season after week 2.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Also agreed.
Yes. All right, Ben. Let's start with the picks.
All right.
Buongiorno.
All right, an early morning game, 11 a.m. Georgia Southern takes on number 2 Clemson. Anything going to happen in there that's going to be surprising?
I think there's going to be a Texas A&M hangover, and Clemson puts 50 instead of 70.
Because in a hangover game, they're going to score 50 instead of 70.
Instead of 70.
Okay. I think Adam, what do you think?
Oh, I think Clemson somewhere between 50 and 70, but it will be a blowout either way.
Georgia Southern has a pretty good running back, Shai Wertz. He's got 246 yards on the season already. I think he may get a touchdown or two for Georgia Southern, but it'll be when they're down by 30 or 40 points. Going with Clemson. Okay. Number 5, Oklahoma travels to Ames, Iowa to take on Iowa State. What will happen there with the Sooners and the Cyclones?
Boomer.
Sooner.
Boomer Sooner.
Okay.
I like what we did there. That was good, guys.
Yeah. See? OH?
No.
No.
N-O.
Black eyes.
No. Kent State taking on Penn State in an 11 o'clock game. What do you think will happen there?
Well, the Fighting Nick Sabans will have a shot because Penn State never wakes up early, but it will be a We Are Penn State type of night, morning.
Yeah. Penn will be the only state winning that game. I agree.
No reason to not go with the Nittany Lions. I'll take them as well. Number 21, Miami, takes on Toledo, and they're playing in Toledo.
What is up with all these Power 5 schools going to these smaller schools? Arkansas did it and lost to Colorado State. The same fate will not befall Miami. Miami will win.
Yeah. Miami will win, even though I think we said the same thing about, I think it was Arkansas last week. Miami will win, but their scheduling department loses.
Yeah, but Arkansas
it's ridiculous.
Really losing.
Yes, but Miami will win this time, even if their schedulers stink.
No reason not to pick Miami. Something I didn't realize, Toledo Stadium is called the Glass Bowl. Seems
Is
like
it
a
oven
dangerous.
safe?
Seems like a dangerous place to have rockets. Anyway, picking Miami. UC Davis. Don't laugh at that. UC Davis travels to Stanford to take on the number 9 team in the country. Any reason to think the Cardinal will not win this game?
No, I have nothing after that joke.
Wow.
That's my kind of humor. I love it, dude. So that's a Stanford pick from you, David?
Yes, it is. He used my Christian name again, y'all.
My bad. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be a classic Stanford game where you pull up the score on your phone and you're like, oh man, they're only up by 3 halfway through the second quarter, and then somehow it'll end up being 48-10. So Stanford.
Yeah, I got to go with Stanford as well. All right, Vandy on the road at number 8, Notre Dame. They're playing in Indiana. What will happen for this?
So Notre Dame is 2-0.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And Vandy's 2-0.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't Vandy undefeated last year before they ran into a buzzsaw?
Yes.
Okay. Same buzzsaw is going to come for them. Vandy's going to get destroyed. The Golden Domers will beat the Anchors.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was the quote last year, "We're coming for you next touchdown, Jesus." But I think, Vandy's going down. Notre Dame's got this one covered.
Hey, look, Notre Dame's looked really good last year until Georgia came in there and beat them. What if Vandy is this year's Georgia?
Ben, really?
I'm just saying, what if the black and gold is better than the blue and gold? Don't you think that's a possibility? Vandy's looked pretty sharp in these first 2 games. I think it is very tempting to pick Vandy here. And I think somebody ought to be thinking Vandy could win this game. I think Notre Dame is vastly overrated. But they're not that overrated. I'm going to pick the Irish to get the win. All right, next up we've got BYU taking on Wisconsin. They're playing in Madison. Any reason to think the number 6 team in the country won't get the win here?
No. Camp Randall will be all red. Wisconsin.
We're all agreeing, on all of these. These seem like no-brainers. Wisconsin.
It's that time of year.
It's the most wonderful. Never mind.
Now, I'll also take Wisconsin for that, and now I'll offer up a 2:30 game that sounds pretty interesting. Number 17, Boise State versus number 24, Oklahoma State. Which state will win?
I'm going to go with Boise State. Boise State finds a way to win these games. I'm going with Boise State on the road.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Boise State on this one too. Sorry, Dave.
I was hoping I was going to go against you.
Both of you guys are picking the higher ranked team, but at some point you got to look at who the home team is, right? Boise State only wins when they're playing Oklahoma, not when they're playing Oklahoma State. The Cowboys are getting the home win.
Watch out for the Statue of Liberty play.
Absolutely. Got to pick number 24 Oklahoma State at home. All right. Speaking of Cowboys, let's talk about some Mustangs. SMU gallops into Ann Arbor to take on number 19 Michigan. Who do you guys like in this game?
I think Michigan showed some strides in how good a team they really are last week. Michigan wins easily.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing here to make me think otherwise.
Yeah, you got to pick the Wolverines in that one. All right, San Jose State in another boring matchup takes on number 20 Oregon. Oregon's 2-0. San Jose State is 0-2. Surely San Jose State's going to be 0-3 after this weekend, right?
Yeah, I can't go against Mario Cristobal.
Yep, agree. Quack, quack.
I can go against Mario Cristobal, just not in this game. This is a win for Oregon. Let's see. Scrolling on down, there is a game where number 4 Ohio State takes on number 15 TCU. They're playing this one in AT&T Stadium, the Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Who's going to win this one, guys?
I really want to pick TCU because y'all know my disdain for Ohio State. But Ohio State has looked good on the field because off the field they've looked horrible. This is Urban Meyer's last game where he cannot coach. He can help prepare the team. So I'm going to take the Ohio State Black eyes.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for TCU wholeheartedly, but I have to pick Ohio State.
You say that TCU looks pretty good, but then you pick Ohio State because you think Ohio State looks better. You know, a home field advantage and good game prep can go a long way. I'm gonna go with the Horned Frogs. Let's go TCU. I'm gonna pick with my emotions and take a 15-4 upset here.
This is why Ben is not winning.
That's why I'm one game behind you guys.
Hey, you're not winning.
All right.
Talking
Not
trash.
first, you're last.
Well, here's a game where somebody is going to be not winning. Number 22 USC versus Texas. The game is in Austin. This would have been a great national championship matchup a few years ago. Now it's a little bit of a questionable matchup. Both teams are 1-1. Who do you like here?
USC is struggling. Texas is struggling. Texas is struggling the most, so I'm going to take USC in a bland game.
I think that Texas has reached that point where Tom Herman knows that the team has to perform on a big stage like this. I think Texas pulls it together and beats USC.
Wow, we disagree.
We're going to get some more separation there at the top of the picking pack. Everything tells me that Texas should be able to get things back together and muster the strength of the home crowd and win this game. But I just think Texas is a mess right now. I'm going to pick USC. I don't think they're much better, but I think they're a little bit better. So I'm going to take the Trojans on the road. You hear the confidence in my voice, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Number 10, Washington travels to Utah in a Pac-12 matchup. Who will win this game in Salt Lake City?
I like Washington. I thought that they looked like they could have upset Auburn. It wouldn't really been that big of an upset. They were the higher-ranked team. But I really think that Washington will be the leader of the pack in the Pac-12. So Washington, or Pac-12 now.
Yep. Yeah, totally agree. I think Washington takes it.
Yeah, I'll go with the Huskies here too. Unless Utah's got something going on that we don't know about, I think Washington's going to get the win here. All right, number 23, Arizona State, somewhat surprisingly ranked and 2-0 right now. They're taking on a 1-1 team, San Diego State, in San Diego. Who do you guys like for this one?
I think Herm Edwards might be new coach of the year. I love Herm Edwards as the coach. I thought that was a great hire by Arizona State. I'm taking Arizona State.
Yep. Home field advantage doesn't mean anything here. Arizona State wins.
I thought Herm Edwards was a incredibly strange hire, but I love Herm Edwards, and I'm excited he's doing well. So, yeah, I'll go with Arizona State here as well. Let's see. Here's a game that has been canceled. East Carolina versus number 13 Virginia Tech. Hoping everyone in Virginia and the Carolinas stays safe this weekend. We'll definitely be thinking about you and praying about you, and hoping everyone in those states stays safe. There are things that are more important than football, so we just want to say that and wish these teams the best as they're taking time to take care of their friends and classmates.
Amen.
Also, we'll also say that for West Virginia and NC State, who have had their game canceled, as well as UCF and North Carolina, who have had their game canceled.
And South Carolina and whoever they play. Is it Wofford or whoever it was?
Yeah, I believe that. I'm switching over to my SEC scoreboard now. And I think as far as canceled games go, yeah, Marshall taking on South Carolina. So be safe out there for all those fan bases and the students at those schools.
And we have listeners in the Carolinas and Virginia as well. So we do want to reach out to all you guys. Say, hey, please stay safe. If you have gone somewhere else, please don't go home until you got the all clear. Yeah. But please stay safe.
Stay safe. We've got over 40 episodes of our podcast you can download and listen to on the road. But most importantly, we hope you're safe while you're traveling or staying in place. Whatever you decide to do, be safe and be smart. And we appreciate you listening. All right, let's do some SEC picks, guys. The first SEC game of the day is Murray State taking on Kentucky. The Racers are 0-2, and Kentucky, after a historic win over Florida, is now 2-0 and 1-0 in the SEC, making them atop the SEC East.
He's also not mentioning that they're tied atop the SEC East.
Hey,
what if Kentucky is this year's Georgia?
Exactly.
And what if a frog had wings? Kentucky's going to win this game, but they are not going to be this year's Georgia.
Yeah, I want to thank Kentucky for shutting up all the Gator fans. As sad as I am not to talk college football as much as I'd like at work, just knocking them down a peg was good. But, yeah, Kentucky's going to win this one, no doubt.
Kentucky is not this year's Georgia, but it is exciting that they could start the season 3-0. I'll take the Wildcats in this game. A noon game, UTEP 0-2 takes on 1-1 Tennessee. Will we see Tennessee get their second win of the season?
I really want to pick UTEP here, but I just can't do it.
Do it, Dave. Go for it.
No, Tennessee wins.
Yeah, I've got a buddy at work that played for UTEP for a year. I would love to root for them too, but no. Tennessee. I hate to say it.
I think Jeremy Pruitt's going to get his second win as a head coach on Saturday. I accidentally threw Vandy Notre Dame into the mix on the other picks, but I think we're all going with Notre Dame there. All right, the 3:30 game or the 2:30 game will be LSU, the number 12 team in the country, versus number 7 Auburn. I think this is a great matchup, and if you'd asked me earlier, I would have said this is a game that's going to decide who's going to be on the hot seat, because there's a lot of people that would like to get rid of Ed Orgeron. We mentioned that earlier in the show, but you know, Auburn is that team that plays really well, but then doesn't quite get the job done. If they don't get the job done against LSU, does the seat start getting hot for Malzahn again?
No. I think Auburn's going to win this game. It's going to be very close, but the game is on the Plains. This is a rivalry game. I think Jared Stidham's going to rise to the occasion. You're going to see this game. It'll probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of 24-21. But let's also take this moment to relish in the fact that Auburn does not have a good kicker this year. He has already missed 3 or 4 field goals.
That's the pot calling the kettle black right there.
Hey, I don't care. Auburn usually always finds these weird kicker guys, but he's not good this year. Thank goodness.
So your pick is?
My pick is the fat coaches.
Wait,
the plain men?
The Plain
or the
men.
Plainsmen, excuse me.
The Plainsmen.
Got it. Yeah, I'm picking Auburn too. I think this is the game where we all figure out what we kind of think down deep, that LSU is not as good as the 12 ranking shows because Miami was overrated to start the year, and LSU gets exposed.
Forget what these early season rankings mean. There's no doubt about it. The Tigers are going to win this one.
So
Another
insightful.
dad joke by Ben Foster.
So insightful.
Aspiring dad, perhaps someday. I
have a 4-year-old I might let you adopt.
Home field advantage. I just think it matters so much in these college games. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And we know the witchcraft and wizardry that happens in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and there's nothing to make me think that it won't occur in this afternoon game on Saturday.
Will there be a burning barn?
I'm going to pick Auburn to win by a couple of magical spells.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Oh my gosh.
Colorado State takes on Florida. Florida coming off of a crazy loss to Kentucky. Are they going to get back on track? Does Florida rebound against Colorado State?
Who did Colorado State beat last week, Ben?
I don't know. I
Arkansas.
was in another country. Yes, yeah. Arkansas.
They beat Arkansas. We just talked about it 5 seconds ago.
I'm jet lagged.
Oh, my gosh. This isn't going to be as easy a win as most of the Florida Gator fans want it to be, but Florida does win. Florida does pull it out.
Yeah, I think they come off the loss wanting to prove a point. I think they beat Colorado State.
Colorado State produced Jim McElwain and sent him to Florida. and neither team has been the same since Jim McElwain came through.
He's somewhere hugging a shark.
So he's gonna be at the Ole Miss game.
Oh man, I've totally missed my opportunity on that one.
You did.
He teed it up. I got to think here in this Jim McElwain Bowl. Actually, that's probably the reason why this game was scheduled, was because they owed Jim McElwain something. I got to pick the Gators. The Gators are gonna win, and Colorado State's gonna make some money. All right. North Texas takes on Arkansas. North Texas has a better record than Arkansas. Who wins this game?
Arkansas is going to win. Chad Morris is a good coach. I got Arkansas.
Yeah, I think it's going to turn into a sprint. Whoever can score the most and make the most of their opportunities. This one's going to be close, but I think Arkansas is going to pull it out.
Chad Morris is a good coach, but the problem is he inherited a bad team. North Texas is winning this one, guys. Upset special. Silence on the other end.
We're singing Daddy Shark.
Oh my gosh. Middle Tennessee. I've got my picks up. Middle Tennessee takes on number 3 Georgia. Surely the Bulldogs are going to get this one, right?
Yeah, Bulldogs, man. All about them Bulldogs.
Yeah, all day long.
The Hairy Dogs won't even have to hunker down to get this win. UL Monroe travels to Texas A&M. A&M coming off of a heartbreaking loss to Clemson. Does A&M rebound this week?
A&M wins this game. They should have won last week's game. That ball did not go out of the end zone. It went out at the 1-yard line, but A&M wins.
Yeah, who would have thought having a camera in the pylon would not help you overturn a ruling?
I know,
like
right?
that. But hey, we're not referees. Texas A&M.
Yeah, I got to go with A&M here as well. Nothing to worry about there. Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns, take on number 16 Mississippi State. Who do you guys like in that game?
State. There's nothing to say but State.
Yep, I absolutely agree.
I'll say Hail State as well.
I'll never say that, but
Missouri takes on Purdue. Purdue is 0-2. I thought they were on the upswing a little bit, but they're 0-2 right now. What's going to happen in this game?
I'll tell you what, this week 3 schedule is giving me misery. So I'm going to take Missouri.
Wow. Yeah. Missouri. That's all.
I gotta think Purdue is not prepared to defend the passing attack that Mizzou's got this year. So I'm gonna go with the Tigers there. All right, those are the picks. We've got one game left to go with. That is number 1 Alabama traveling to Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi, to take on the Ole Miss Land Shark Rebel Black Bears.
First off, you didn't say Von Hemingway Stadium correctly. You have to say it with a pure Southern drawl. Von Hemingway Stadium.
Von Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi.
And you said Mississippi wrong.
Mississippi. Oxford, Mississippi, to be exact.
I have to turn in my Southern credentials here. But anyway, they're playing the Rebel Black Bear Alliance of Land Sharks.
It's a trap.
Is it a trap?
It's a trap.
Playing Ole Miss has been a trap before. Will it be a trap for Nick Saban this time?
Well, what did we say Alabama's weakness was going to be this year? Secondary.
Oh, I thought you were going to say kickers.
Well, that too. But secondary is one of Alabama's biggest weakness. Arkansas State was able to pass on Alabama. Louisville found decent ability to pass on Alabama. Ole Miss has A.J. Brown, who is quite possibly the best wide receiver to come out of college at the end of the year. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce their quarterback's name, but he is probably statistically the best quarterback in the SEC right now. While Tua is the better quarterback talent-wise, Ole Miss has the best statistics for a quarterback right now. This is going to be an offensive game. It's going to be ugly on defense. Ole Miss will be one-dimensional. They will not be able to run the ball in Alabama. I'm going to go on a limb and say that Ole Miss will not be able to stop Alabama. I don't think we're going to see Skylar DeLong on the field, but maybe once at Von Hemingway Stadium. Alabama wins 63-35.
Wow,
That's a lot of
is ugly.
points, Dave.
Holy cow.
63-35.
Whew.
I'm sweating over here thinking about what that game would look like. I'm too old
Imagine how
for
many
that game.
texts I'm going to be sending you Saturday night.
Oh, man. Yeah, I agree. I think the secondary is going to be key if we can make them one-dimensional. Everything you just said, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think you're going to be able to tell early on if Alabama can get pressure. I think if we can get to the quarterback, it'll take some pressure off the secondary. I think that shifts the game more positively in Alabama's favor than the secondary play might if we can get to the quarterback and rattle him early. I agree, though. I think it's going to be an offensive game. I'm not as squirrely about the points that Bama will score, but I agree Ole Miss is going to put up some points, more than we've seen anybody do this year, obviously. I say Bama wins 42-24.
Well, I think Ole Miss has had some interesting statistics on the season, but I don't think they're accurate samples of what kind of team Ole Miss is. Ole Miss is not as good as advertised, and I think Alabama is going to be prepared for them. And I also don't think Saban wants to take his foot off the gas. Hugh Freeze may not still be at Ole Miss, but Saban is still mad about 2 consecutive losses to Ole Miss, and I think he wants to make them pay for it. I think we're going to see Tua unleashed in this game, and I think it's going to translate really well. Is Alabama going to break 50? That remains to be seen because it is an SEC team, not necessarily the weaker teams we've seen with Arkansas State and Louisville. I think Ole Miss is going to be somewhat competitive, but I don't think they're anywhere prepared to hang with Alabama. And that's why I think we're going to get a score of 48-17 with Bama getting the win.
All right.
Roll Tide.
48-17. Roll Tide.
All right, those are the picks. Now it is time for our sideline warnings.
Well, Ben, you were out last week. Let's hear what you got this week.
I don't have a ton of fire to bring this week. I just have a simple observation about the coaching carousels and the seats that are hot and should be getting hotter. And there's one man I would like to point out who I think should be on the hot seat and should have one of the hottest seats in the country. His name's Tom Herman. Texas right now is 1-1, but they're coming off of their only win being against Tulsa, where they won 28-21. They beat Tulsa by a touchdown? They lost to Maryland when their head coach wasn't even there? When that team's in disarray? Texas doesn't look good. They're not playing good football. And at this point, Tom Herman's been there long enough. He should be delivering something. Texas, it's one of the best high school football recruiting grounds in the country, if not the best. And Texas doesn't have more talent on the field than what they've got. Something's wrong. And then you look at Tom Herman and you see how he's been mixed up in this Zach Smith mess, allegedly getting Ohio State in trouble in the first place, and then you find out he was actually doing some of the questionable activities with Zach Smith. Tom Herman's bad news, and I didn't think I'd be saying it at this point in time, but Texas needs to already start looking for a new head coach because Tom Herman's not the guy, and he's not going to get the job done. And the seat should only get hotter if USC does their job in Austin this weekend. So, Tom Herman, watch out. Your seat's getting hot.
That's some fire there by Ben Foster. Adam, you're up, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a step back to a topic that we've talked before and that isn't really still hot right now. But I have to go back to it. There have been things. I think it was Tim Brando, right, that had the tweet out there around sports media and how guys like the three of us should never really have a place. At least that's how I interpreted it. That there were much more professional people out there that should have a louder voice. That amateurs shouldn't really have a place in it. And I got to tell you guys, I was watching the SEC Network this week, and I know I've gone on rants before about ESPN, and it may not be something that I need to continue doing, but I'm literally watching the SEC Network, and they were asking for all the SEC games. They were previewing all of them, and they asked the guy, so what does this team have to do to win this week? Well, they just really need to control the line of scrimmage and hang on to the ball and make the most of every opportunity that comes their way. And it was so generic that it's becoming more and more obvious that the whole reason the three of us have a platform, the whole reason three of us even get somebody to click on what we talk about is because we're passionate about it, because we're fans and we follow this stuff. But it's because we mentioned this, I think last week or the week before, we don't have 24 hours of a cycle to fill up with just noise, right? We can come in and spend this hour and a half, 2 hours a week together, and we can really put something that we feel good about out there. So I would challenge anybody that thinks that the media, the medium that we're using with podcast, the way that we're trying to get our voice heard, the way that we're trying to get our takes out there, I would say it probably takes a heck of a lot more courage to do that because we don't have the weight of a huge company behind us. But I would say it's even more valuable because it probably means more for a normal fan to hear this kind of thing than just be spoon-fed lines around how play at 110% and control the ball, control the line of scrimmage. They need to make sure that they aren't turning the ball over. I mean, all that stuff's just generic because they just have to churn stuff out. So I would challenge anybody who has anything to say, Tim Brando or otherwise, about anything that we do, that I actually am proud of what we do. And I think that everybody needs to give a little bit more respect to the guys like us that get up once a week and put something out there without having a suit and having a huge salary and just doing it for the love of it. So I wanted to say that this is the first college football season I've done, so I wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you guys for getting up every week and doing this. And I think it's probably harder to do what we do than most people do on TV. So anybody who wants to challenge that, I welcome them. 931-44 Blitz, Tim Brando, if you're out there, give it a shout and give me a hot take. Let's hear it. But dadgummit if we don't do a good job with what we've got available to us. So,
well, Adam, I will say this: the pleasure is all ours. We enjoy having you on the show. I think that we have a good conversation between the three of us, and I think that we've done great with this show. I love having this time that we have to just talk crap. I mean, that's what I love about this show. We have this is the conversation that the three of us would be having even if we didn't have a microphone in front of us.
Yep.
If we could somehow let people in to listen or look at what we do during our group chat every week back and forth, what you hear on the show is how the three of us talk normally. I mean,
what you see is what you get. And it's a podcast, so you don't actually see anything, and that's what you get. Wait, that's not the point I wanted to make, but you know what I wanted to make.
So here's a snapshot. If you got to look at our chats, I overreact a lot of times. Ben calls me out on it, and Adam just sits there and eats the Doritos and waits for me and Ben to start fighting on the group chat.
That was our whole baseball conversation just a few minutes ago, encapsulated, right? I mean, that's
just how it is. So
yeah.
I'm with you, Adam. I enjoy this time that we have together, and I think that's what can make our show special. So I appreciate everybody that takes this time out to listen to us, because y'all are part of what we do, and you interact with us on Facebook and on Twitter, and we appreciate that.
And I want to say, you guys out there, Dave's talking about giving some glimpses behind the scenes. You guys don't know how exciting it is every time we see the number click up by one. And it may not be popular to say that because, we're trying to do this whole thing. But we literally notice every time somebody listens, and it means a lot. So thank you to all you guys out there too.
Yeah. If you take an hour and a half, 2 hours out of your day to listen to the thoughts of Adam, Dave, and Ben, we appreciate that, because we do this for fun, and we do this because we have friends that like our opinion, but really we just like to hear ourselves talk. We like to give our own opinions. And so we really do appreciate the fact that y'all come on and listen to us. But I still have to give my fire.
Yeah, go ahead.
And my fire is going to be a little anti your fire, Adam.
Please contradict me, Dave. Go ahead.
While I love what we do, there is a medium of social media that needs to go away. I brought this before, but today especially, this is on my mind. The Braves had a day game in San Francisco. The only way you could watch this game was on Facebook Live. And I understand that Facebook is trying to rule the world and get out of the social media category. But yeah, you're Facebook. The only reason people still have Facebook now is so we could do Facebook chat, even though Ben hates it.
It really is the bane of my existence.
Yes, exactly. We could do Facebook chat, and I could see what my classmates in high school are still doing with their kids, even though I've never spoken a word to them since I've said, hey, we'll keep in touch before I went to Alabama. That's all Facebook is for. It is not to watch a baseball game. And if you want to make it to watch a baseball game, at least get good announcers. I can't even tell you who the three guys in the booth were because they were garbage. And the only way for me to get it on my nice 60-inch TV was to hook it up to my Apple TV and share the screen with my iPhone. I'm sorry. The reason I have a 60-inch TV is so I can watch the Braves games, so I can watch football games. I don't want to watch a Braves game on my 5.6-inch iPhone Plus that I can put in my Roo Sport pouch when I go running. I want to watch a Braves game on my TV, not my social media, not my tablet. So Facebook, get out of baseball.
So how about this? Can I merge our two together, Dave?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, Facebook, how about you go find passionate guys who aren't garbage announcers and have a love of the game to talk about the game and baseball? Because isn't Facebook supposed to be about the little guy? So now Facebook is bringing in professional announcers. I know 3 guys that would love to announce the next Braves game that's on Facebook Watch, and they're all right here. So there you go. Let's merge our 2 sideline warnings together. And how many retweets Facebook do we have to do to be the next 3 announcers for a Facebook Watch Braves game? Hit me up.
Go.
Slide into my DMs and let me know.
Oh, Adam's learning the social medias, man.
Are you proud of me?
I am. See, there's your premium segue to how we can interact with the show. Adam, how can they interact and slide into your DMs?
I assume you're talking about Twitter. Is that
that's the Twitter jigger.
Kidding. Yeah, I'm at Run Tide Run, and I'm actually I have 2 things going right now. I'm still tweeting at Tony the Land Shark. I'm going to try to get a response from him heading into the weekend now that it's Ole Miss Hate Week. But I think, Dave, we're also going to start doing the Snapchat Coach of the Week because that Coach O thing was just too funny. So at Run Tide Run, that's how you can see me and my 2 tweets I do a week.
Ben, what is yours?
You can follow me at the Ben Foster. Ben Foster, so you don't confuse me with any of the other ones.
Exactly, and I am at dadams419, and you can also find the show is at SW The Show. And this week I've been tweeting about everything. Yeah, the Miss America pageant was this week, and I tweeted about the Miss America pageant, not going to lie, because, come on, Hunter Johnson does it, I can do it too, right? So there you go. You find us on Instagram. We are also SW The Show. We're also Facebook.com/SW The Show. Join our Facebook fan group. Sideline Warning Facebook fan group is easy. Find us. But guys, that's the show. Adam already said, if you want to call in to interact with the show, 931-44-BLITZ. Tim Brando, if you are listening to the show, we implore you, give us your take on why you don't think we are part of the media. We'll bring you on as a guest of the show. I don't care. Tim Brando, or anybody that wants to give their take, 931-44-BLITZ.
Catch me outside, Tim Brando.
Oh, wow. I can't. Okay, that's the show. Guys, as always, we love you. We'll see you next week. And roll time.
Adam, can you talk for us for a minute?
Hi-oh, sure I can. Am I coming through clearly? Hello?
That was pretty good. What voice was that you were doing?
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog.
Hi-oh, Kermit the Frog here.
Hi-ho, everyone. Kermit the Frog here.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
start the show, Frog.
Oh, boy.
The lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Look at that.
La-di-da-da-da-da-da.
Gosh.
Someday
Anybody else?
you'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. That was a good one.
Sounds like a great outtake to me.
Glad you don't have video outtakes.
Excuse me there. I seem to have a frog in my throat.
How is the non-dad making the dad jokes on this show?